This morning, if you shaved, you destroyed something that took 2 million years to build in under 2 minutes without giving it a single thought. Every ape on this planet is covered head to toe in fur. You're not, except for one very specific patch on your face. And that patch isn't decoration. It's a hormone readout, broadcasting information about you to every stranger who looks at your jaw, the same way it's done since before humans could speak a single word. You have almost the exact same number of hair follicles as a chimpanzee, the same actual count, packed across your skin right now. So why did one patch survive the same stripping away that wiped out fur everywhere else on your body? Quick one before we go further. Look at the back of your own hand right now. You can probably see faint little hairs on it. That's not empty skin. That's a chimp's worth of follicles, just running almost invisibly thin. Let's start with the bigger mystery, because you can't explain the one patch that stayed without explaining the disappearance of everything else first. Somewhere between 1 and 2 million years ago, our ancestors started losing body hair almost everywhere, not thinning it gradually, losing the visible coat, while keeping nearly the same follicle count the whole time. Every other primate on the planet kept its fur. Every single one. Humans are the one glaring exception in the entire order, and an exception like that doesn't happen by accident. The leading explanation comes down to temperature. Anthropologist Nina Jablonski has spent decades studying this, and her research points to one central problem. Early humans were becoming persistent hunters, chasing prey for hours across open, blazing grassland until the animal collapsed from heat exhaustion. But running for hours under direct sun creates a problem of its own. Overheating can kill a hunting body faster than starvation ever would, and a thick coat of fur traps heat directly against the skin, right when you most need to release it. So evolution made a trade. It swapped a full coat of fur for a radically upgraded cooling system instead. Humans carry roughly 10 times the sweat gland density of a chimpanzee. Fur blocks that sweat from evaporating. Lose the fur, and that built-in cooling system can finally do its job. That theory explains the disappearance, but it creates an even bigger problem the moment you look at the beard. Look at exactly where humans kept meaningful hair. The scalp, shielding the skull from direct sun. The eyebrows and eyelashes, keeping sweat out of the eyes. And specifically on men, the lower face and jaw. That last one doesn't fit the cooling theory at all. A beard doesn't help you run faster or sweat more efficiently. If anything, it works against the theory entirely, trapping heat against one of the most exposed surfaces on the head. So temperature explains why we lost fur everywhere else. Something completely different has to explain why the beard survived. And the leading answer isn't about survival at all. It's about selection. Charles Darwin noticed this exact discrepancy back in 1871. He couldn't explain why a trait offering no clear survival advantage would persist so consistently across human males. His conclusion was that ordinary natural selection wasn't driving it. Sexual selection was. A trait that sticks around not because it helps you survive, but because it changes how you're perceived by everyone around you. Modern research has tested this in ways Darwin never could. Researcher Barnaby Dixon has run studies asking people to rate photos of the same men with varying amounts of facial hair. The pattern shows up again and again across cultures. Heavier beards get rated as noticeably more dominant, more mature, more socially imposing. Interestingly, the research is far less consistent on plain attractiveness. What beards reliably shift is status and threat perception between men, rather than simple appeal to women, the way Darwin originally assumed. Here's the part that makes this click biologically. Facial hair growth is directly tied to testosterone, and beard follicles show meaningfully higher androgen sensitivity than almost anywhere else on the body. A full beard isn't decoration sitting on top of the skin. It's a visible readout of hormonal activity happening underneath the whole time. Ancient humans couldn't run a blood test on a stranger, but they could look at another man's face for 2 seconds and get a rough biological read on him instantly, well before a single word was exchanged. In a small tribal group, where sizing up an ally or a threat quickly genuinely mattered, that's not a trivial advantage. It's the difference between trusting the right person and not seeing a real threat coming at all. Some researchers point to a second layer too. A thick beard may have offered a small amount of passive protection, a modest cushion against a blow to the jaw, back when your only real weapons were your own 2 hands. So you end up with 2 completely separate forces acting on the same stretch of skin. One force stripped hair away almost everywhere else, because heat was the enemy of survival. Another force kept hair in one specific place, because there, hair was never fighting your biology. It was advertising it. Quick thing before we wrap up. If topics like this interest you, subscribing genuinely helps a lot. Which brings us back to this morning. That razor took off a signal that took 2 million years to build, in under 2 minutes, without you thinking twice about it. Plenty of other men put in just as much deliberate effort growing it back out, consciously styling something their ancestors never got any say in growing in the first place. Your ancestors didn't choose their beard. You choose yours. Every single time you pick up that razor or set it back down. Either way, you're not just managing personal grooming. You're editing a signal your own body has been broadcasting since before you could speak a single word. Your ancestors never got to choose whether that signal was there. You choose it, or don't, every single morning, whether or not you've ever thought about it that way before now.